Hey everyone, it's Rye bringing you a different kind of video this time. This one is a viewer requested video, so if you have anything that you'd like to request, feel free to leave it in the comments, send me a DM on Discord or Steam or whatever, and probably make it. But this ended up becoming a long process. Me and some friends all ranked all of the unique units in Lekmod, and from a scale of 1 to 10, discussed pretty in depth almost every single unit, and then came up with this list. And I'm here to show it to you guys and kind of give you a really quick rundown of all of the ones on the list. I hope this isn't going to be a long video. I'm not going to spend. I'll try to not even spend like upwards of 10 seconds on each unit. But there are 100 units, so it naturally it'll be a kind of long video. But um, hopefully this is informative, especially if you're getting into the mod and you just see this slew of units and you have no idea what any of them do. Hopefully this kind of drowns out the noise and can kind of get you a little focused. I'm going to start with the weak units first, and then we're going to work our way down. Maybe it would be a fun exercise if you could leave a comment or think about, okay, hey, what are the best units? Let's see maybe you have a favorite unit. Maybe you can try to figure out what we ranked it. Um, we had about 5 or 6 people weighing in on this. Some of these have changed since the raw footage, and the raw footage will be linked below in the description if you want to watch that. Though that will be like a 3.5 hour long video, so just a heads up. But yeah, so let's just jump right in before I keep talking too much. Okay, so the first one is Vietnam. The Viet Cong is a good unit. I'd say, if I had to give this an actual ranking other than 0, it'd probably be about a 4 or maybe a 5. It fixes the problem infantry typically has where it's too expensive. The gimmicky, can't be seen thing is pretty useless. Maybe it's okay for Zocking units that don't see it. But for the most part, it's not very good. The reason it's a 0 is because it literally breaks your game. It's too buggy. Just would not recommend building this unit. Don't use it in multiplayer. It's going to crash the game a lot of the times. It causes a ton of resyncs and stuff like that. The Akyat cannon. This unit sucks. It does no damage. It's so weak. It shoots like a Treb, but with 3 range. You could have some utility, but generally speaking, you just want a cannon. And then another reason the real reason it's bad is because it's cheaper than a normal cannon, which makes it so that when you go to arty cav someone, it makes your arty harder because now you have to have a lot more upgrade gold. So that makes it a 1. This is a terrible unit. Slinger, terrible. I'm not even going to talk about it. Crusader, having a longsword on theology is pretty fucking useless. Longswords in general are not very strong units. Having him on Theo means they're not close to any other relevant unit. Not good. The Macedonian pikeman comes at philosophy. I mean, Macedonia is often stealing philosophy, so for that reason it can be okay. But the only use this has is against knights, because against cav it's just going to get arty'd down, and even against knights it just gets destroyed by crossbows. The reason it's a 1 is because all of us agreed we'd rather have a normal pikeman. It's okay on attack, but realistically, you're not fighting anyone with knights, so you know. Fortified cav for Colombia just makes no sense. It doesn't fit the theming. It's just kind of shit. The Maya unit, there's nothing really special about it. It's kind of like just a unit. I don't know. Looks kind of cool. The Moors unit. This might be a contested one. Generally speaking, the attacks with this unit aren't very strong. It's pretty weak. Dies very, very quickly. It's a chariot. It's a late game chariot. The biggest utility is being able to cycle and being able to move after shooting. Later on, this doesn't get it. It's not tanky. It just dies really fast. You could die. You could definitely die to this if you're not prepared. But if you are prepared, this unit melts to stuff like lancers and everything like that. The Nubia unit, it's okay. It's probably better than a normal scout, but not by much. Um, we're including the unit as a whole, so you know we're including impies on Zulu, not just the impy, but with the Zulu promo. So um, we're not including if the unit is free. So this unit is free. It's just a scout. You can't really use it to take city states. It's just gets walled pretty easily. The Ukrainian thing, it's so much worse than the Vanator. It dies so easily to everything. Having anti-cav, being not... The nice thing about Gatling guns is they're tanky. This isn't tanky. So, the Minuteman, this is just like a normal musket. Like the difference between this and a normal musket is so minute. You're never really going to build this. When you're attacking, it could be nice, but most of the time it's just meh. The Hussar, again, it's just the sight and the movement is okay, but it's just not really worth much of anything. The Jaguar, this is more of a utility unit. It doesn't really help with tributes that much, but the movement is really good for getting runes, as you always have jungle bias. So, yeah. The Brazil unit, really high combat strength. Definitely noticeable, but infantry are so expensive. Frankly, you'll probably just be building Marines anyway. But you can upgrade into them and stuff. But, Brazil often doesn't get to this point because it's Brazil, so it's pretty low. Doesn't help their game. Kanit says, like, the problem with this is that the unit's bad. The unit just isn't as good as its the impy counterpart. It gets walled as fuck by forwarded pikemen, and after that, there's just no point. Cataphract, I've used this unit quite a bit. Having it suffers a similar thing as the Colombian unit, where it's a defensive horseman, which means it dies really easily to things that they're going to have a lot of, because those things are very efficient units, like pikemen and spears. It's not very strong. It's like a sword, right? It's pretty much just like a horse sword. That dies to spearmen. Meh. War Chariot, the only utility this thing has is being able to hide your horse count if you're going to chariot someone. So for that reason, it's okay, but for everything else, just a normal chariot. Chris Swordsman, you're never building this on Indonesia. Like, there's a couple of units where you're just like, oh wait, this has a UU. This is one of them. The random promos are cool, but they're just so gimmicky. It's just, you're not, yeah. Maccabee, again, another one where it's like, I forgot this had a unit. This is like the most irrelevant unit ever. It does nothing. It's just a normal swordsman. Like, I feel like there's just like no point. A Huacha, this thing can truck. This thing can absolutely blow up units. It does a ton of damage. It's just so bad at taking cities, and it dies so easily. I mean, it's a trebuchet, right? Like, you're not using that to kill units typically. You'd probably just rather have crossbows, right? They're just better. Maori Battalion, this unit's good for one thing, and it's good for defending cities you've captured. Other than that, it's just an infantry. And infantry in general are pretty bad. Swiss Guard, it's such a weird niche, right? Like a Landsknecht. Dies to Artie. Doesn't help you survive. It doesn't help you survive Artie, which is supposed to be the point. No, not good. Square ship. Again, we're not including it. If we included the fact that this is free, then it's really good. But it's not. We're not including the fact that it's free. So for that reason, it's still fine. Like, you can still use it to tribute stuff. You can use it to pillage. You can use it. The main reason we have it this high is because you can use it to, if you're Galeas attacking someone, you can use it to Zoc their Galeas. So that is actually pretty impactful. And then the fact that it can heal outside of friendly water is actually pretty noticeable in that regard as well. Koa, this is another unit where it's just like, oh wait, this has a UU. Just not very effective. Great Galeas, this is just not worth it. Like, Galeas attacks in general are pretty bad. When you frigate Venice, the Galeas isn't really going to make or break the attack. Yeah. Force Publique, this unit's pretty good. It does a lot of damage, but we have GWs ranked pretty low because GWs are so bad. But Force Publique are quite good. Canada Combat Engineer, it's a pretty good unit. The fact that it can make, the reason this is actually high is because the fact that it can one turn railroads is pretty significant, but it doesn't, because this comes so early, we're not able to pre-build muskets and upgrade them to rifles. So for that reason, it's actually pretty bad. Pictus Warrior, any type of spear that can let you get tributes better is good. But when this was a swordsman, it was insane. But now it's a spear, so it's not nearly as good. The Longbowman is quite good. It's a very strong unit. It's just on England, and it's really hard to do expo attacks on coast typically. So for that reason, it's not that good. Noble Swordsman, I think people mistake the strength of this unit with the strength of Gaul as a whole. So, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but the rankings are like 1 to 10. So 10 is absolutely insane, must probably be nerfed. 1 is worse than its counterpart, like worse than the original unit. Like the Slinger is worse than a normal archer. And then 4 is like mediocre. 5 is good, and 7 is like very good unit usually. Yeah. Ulan, it's pretty good. It's pretty versatile. It can defend really, really, really well, but it's not that great into attacking. Charge is a great promo. You can upgrade it to Lancers and have a good time. Heavy Chariots, this is a phenomenal defense unit. Such a good defense unit, but other than that, it's pretty bad. And a defensive Heavy Chariot is kind of sus, but this unit does its job. It's pretty good. You can't complain about this unit. It's just good. And that's kind of the point of a 4. They're all pretty good. Japan Samurai, I think the fact that it gets shock for free is really good. Again, people mistake the power of the Samurai with the power of the Barrack. Getting 10% on a unit in general, like getting free discipline off of the Barrack is really fucking good. I think they're kind of mistaking that. The Samurais in general are okay. They're not bad, but it's a longsword. It's on the coastal civ. Meh. Immortals, good unit. Helps you with tributes. Really good when you get it for Persia, because usually you're doing classical war, but nothing crazy. Not much different than a normal spear. Landwehr, like this unit's okay. Probably not it's compared to other rifles, it's not that good, but other like unique rifles, it's not that good, but it's fine. Blitz on a rifle, it doesn't really make much sense unless you're pushing with it, but you shouldn't really be pushing with rifles. I don't know. Galaglass, this unit is pretty good. It's pretty efficient, but it doesn't know what it's doing, right? It's got volley. It's a weird unit. The Comanches also, it's a unique cav, so of course it's good. This should be industrial. But I don't know. In general, it's not that good of a cav. Like it's not much different than a normal cav. Just got 1 extra move, right? Tercio, these die too easily to Artie. In general, though, they're really good at wall and cav, but they die so easily to Artie, it's just not worth including. And they're more expensive. Phalanx, a good defensive unit, right? Myriad doesn't want to go bronze working. They want to go straight to drama and philo. So for that reason, it's good, but it's just a normal spear. I don't know. Sweden, the Caroline, similar thing. It's just a musket that has march, which they're just meat shields, so march doesn't really help much because you're not like pushing. The Turkey unit, it's good for upgrading into infantry, and that's the only thing it's good for. The unit itself is bad. This Wales unit's just fine. It's just a fine crossbow. It's just a straight upgrade to a crossbow. It makes him tankier. That's about it. This old unit was disgusting before it got nerfed, but now. The Akkad Lapitu helps with tributes. For that reason, it's really strong. But the the lap, it doesn't. The gimmicky part is the worker stuff, and a lot of times it doesn't work. So it's a 5. It's still good. It'll help with classical pushes. It'll help killing city states, etc. The Vortrekker, this unit is really really strong. The problem is it's a GUE, and GUEs are pretty bad. I've had multiple games that go to modern on boars, and my opponent has CC'd every single time because this unit is so frustrating to fight against if the person defending knows how to use it properly. The Gyro, you get it for free, which is really good. But the main thing is it lets you build rifles right after your it lets you build rifles after you have your factories up, which is important. It's an important distinction between that and the combat engineer, right? Combat engineer is like, you can't build rifles after industrial. But this is like, okay, you can still build muskets, rather, after industrial, but you just have to wait until IDO for them to be obsolete. Musketeer, high combat strength, good defensive unit. Still will die to Artie, but it can stall for a little longer. Sea Axeman, essentially this unit is like, I am now unable to get crossbowed, and for that reason it's quite strong, because you'll always be able to get double cover with a barrack, so that's really really good. The Georgia unit, really good offensive unit. 20, like the Golden Age bonus. If you're doing what the Civ is designed to do, which is Liberty crossbows, it's quite good, but nothing crazy, right? It's still a sword. It can move on rough terrain, which is really good, but it's good at what it does, but it can hurt you if you're getting attacked before crossbows. Hoplite's the same thing as a Lapitu, essentially, so same ranking. Mohawk Warrior, gimmicky, but you're not chopping on Iroquois anyway. The fact that all of the tiles that it wants to be on are roaded is really good. Additionally, this kind of walls all classical pushes. It'll still die to crossbows, but it walls all classical pushes. So for that reason, it's really good. The Killa Dow, this is a good unit for attacking. It kind of creates an attack with Galeas in this unit where Killa can be more consistent in killing them. Also, you can pressure without having to enter Renaissance, which is a really important thing. Madagascar, when this unit was able to be purchased in every city, or when this unit was able to be purchased in one city all at once, it was disgusting. Now it's obviously tuned down, and that got nerfed. It's still good. It's still really annoying to deal with. It's amazing on defense. It gives a faith sink to someone who's got a ton of faith. It's good. It's good. You can attack with it. You can defend with it. Nothing crazy, but it's fine. Seabagger, when this got, before nerf, this was the best unit in the game. After nerf, it's still pretty good. Free promo on Coast goes a long way, but not what it once was. Additionally, you're not going to have that many because, they're privateers, so you're not going to be able to pre-build them, but, in general, it's really good. Probably honestly needs a buff. Ski Infantry, really good defensive unit. Problem is it's a GUE. And same problem as the Vortrekker, right? Like, they're kind of the same in terms of like what they can do and what they're good at. Ski Infantry is probably just a little more consistent. Venator, really, really good unit. The thing is, any attack that happens on a Simtech is just automatically good. But everyone kind of knows about the Venator attack because it once was really, really broken. Now it's pretty expensive, so for that reason, we kind of gave it a 5. But prior to being nerfed, I think it was probably around a 7 or an 8. The unit itself is really strong, but everything else around it, like the cost and whatnot, is kind of what brings it down. The Songhai unit, knights in general are pretty weak, but this knight is pretty good. Slamming cities is very good, and when they don't have anything, but when they have stuff, this feels useless. Switzerland, this unit is the first unit that we have where it's era defining, where it kind of creates its own timing and it makes everything kind of about this Civ at that point. So the unit itself is pretty mediocre, but everything around it is really strong. We gave it a 5 because it's almost an impossible to defend attack because you're just swarming them with stuff all at the same time. And yeah, it just can be really good. Camel Archer, I think we're starting to enter the territory where stuff is like very debatable. But camels in general are the definition of an era defining unit. They're best on attack, really good on defense, but they're weak. They die so easily. They're super frail, and attacking into a pike does substantially less damage. So it just sucks. Assyria, it's a very good unit for capturing CS. For attacking people, it's pretty bad. But it makes Assyria really, really strong at Honor Sim because those units die quick. Chukanus, when you're a new player and you're using the Civ against other new players, this is the most oppressive unit in the game. But when you're a better player and you're against China, it's quite easy to defend Chukanus. It's very obvious when they're attacking. You're probably going to have better sim because it's China versus whoever has the bonus. But I will say, you can almost guarantee a kill if you go Honor China. It's the definition of a meat grinder. It just might take a while because it's hard to set the unit up properly. But anything in front of this unit will die. But I will say this unit is amazing on defense. This is probably one of the best units in the game for defending. Unless you're going against Cav or something. But even still, you can still make it work. Ethiopia unit. It's good. It's really good for defending. But it's a little restrictive. It pairs really well with the Ethiopian bonus. It's just an all-around good defensive unit. The problem is it just dies to arty, right? Like these are the problems that all of these rifles and muskets have. Sissies. Okay, this is probably one of the most debatable ones, but everyone I've talked to, I was kind of looking for people that kind of like the unit. Everyone I talked to doesn't like the unit. It's like a bait unit almost. It's good. Obviously it's good. It's a 6, right? Like it's error defining as fuck. Like everyone's gonna be worried about sissies. It's Finland's late game. The problem is it's not like game ending. It's not just like, okay, you win. And for that reason, like it's not higher than a 6, but 6 is still good. But the Gadrot, same thing. The unit itself is pretty meh, but on Goths, it's good. It's really good. So for that reason, it's a 6. But as a unit itself, if you got CS gifted this unit, it doesn't do anything. Congo, this stops all crossbow attacks, just completely dead in his tracks. It's so fucking good. It's so good. It's the definition of a meat shield. Turtle ships. Glosson does a good job explaining turtle ships in the raw footage. So if you want to learn more about turtle ships, definitely check that out. But turtle ships in general are very good if you can use them properly. Most of the time you can't. If the person you're fighting against knows how to fight against turtle ships well, aka they find a one-tile choke on shallow water, and they'll zock you multiple times with like a caravel or something. It's impossible to deal with on turtle ships. So for that reason, it's pretty limited. But if they can get to you, you're dead. So, and there's nothing you can do about it. Keshiks, same thing as camels. Exact same thing as camels. I think this is better than a camel, though, with quick study, but everything is about Keshiks. This is not to say the Keshik attack won't work. Of course it will work against an unsuspecting player or something, but forwarded pikes will shit on this unit. The thing is, it's easy to whittle people down with Keshiks. It just takes a long as fuck time. So, and then once they get knights, they can start slamming back, and it's just a mess. Pedites, getting a longsword on workshop tech is really, really good. So helps with longsword trebs, helps with crossbow attacks, workshop crossbow attacks, really good. This unit is insane, but galleys in general are bad. So you'd need to find a circumstance where you're debating gallying your neighbor in the first place. They're good for capturing CS. They're really good for farming camps on barbarian camps on the water, which kind of fits the theme of the Civ. But yeah, Palmyra, probably one of the best defensive units in the entire game. Up until knights, they're just insane. It can be really, really good, but really bad on attack. Really bad on attack.
The Siam Elephant, probably, this is another contender for one of the best defensive units in the entire game. Just does so much damage, but really bad on attack typically. Yeah. Gauchos and Malmix. These two I personally disagreed with, but watch the raw footage for the explanation on those. Essentially, Gauchos are insane because you can get upwards of 200. You get 200% flanking bonus, which means you can positively trade into pikes, forwarded pikes, which is the whole problem with knights a lot of the time. Same with Malmix. Malmix trade positively into pikes, so that's the reason why it's a 7. Really, really good on attack, really good on defense, scales really well. The Colorado, this unit can be crazy. It can be one of the best utility units in the game, right? You get it at Artie, which is a perfect tech. It's easy to you don't even need much happiness for this to be as strong as anything it's comparable to, and then any more is just icing. It can be really, really good. Actually, this is industrial. Carthage, the elephants. This could be a 9 out of 10 if it wasn't on Carthage, but because it's on Carthage, it's 7 out of 10. The unit itself is disgusting. Denmark, Berserkers, iconic unit, definitely era defining. But it's not the thing that makes them Denmark crazy. The thing that makes Denmark crazy is the long ship. So this is a 7, but yeah. Ship of the line, again, era defining for sure. It's more of like a historically era defining thing similar to a camel. But on attack, these things are feared as fuck. Panzers, really, really, really crazy strong. Probably the best tank in my opinion. Yeah, just 6, like, movement scales so well in Civ. It's insane. Black Arquebusiers, these things are nuts. They create their own timing for themselves. They're multifaceted. They can defend really well. They can attack. This is the definition of a grinder unit. They will grind you out, and there's nothing you can do about it. Fenians, these are, in my opinion, the best defensive unit to deal with Artie. They're so cheap. They're so good. I love this unit. It's amazing. Pestininkas, 50% off of Pikemen, which is already one of the best units at face value. Say less. The Nabatea Scout is very good. Generates you a ton of money. Helps you scout the entire map very, very fast. Pre-nerf, this was like a 9 out of 10. Yeah. The Legion, pre-nerf, this would have been like a 9 out of 10. The reason why it's era defining is because it pairs well with the Ballista. Yeah. Cossack, really strong Cav. That's kind of it. Cavs are really good. That's why it's a 7. Cavs are really good, and this is a better Cav. So, Kasami Raider, getting charge is just such a valuable, one to have, especially when you compare it with like ambush and stuff, where you kind of need ambush. Usually, you're sacrificing ambush for charge, right? So this lets you get both. Super good. Kasami Raiders, they're just so good. Like, you can get up to 10 move pretty consistently on this with this, and like having a 10 move unit is just disgusting. The best privateer by far. Just really, really scary. M84s, I've used these a bunch of times. I think Zoc scales really, really well. Ignore Zoc scales insanely well, like, the later you get. If this was on a land ship, if it was Ignore Zoc on a land ship, I'd say it's a 10 out of 10. But because it's on a tank, it's a little late. Ignore Zoc is great when they're not super prepared, but you're not going to fight someone who's not super prepared. Yugoslavia is like a pretty slow civ in general. And oftentimes you get baited into taking things like freedom. At least I do. So, but I think if you take autocracy on the civ and you do the tank stuff, it can be really, really strong. Sparapets, this is an 8, but it's not. Okay, I'm going to give it a 4. The unit itself is pretty bad. The reason it was an 8 is like kind of a joke. If you listen to the raw footage, you'll understand. But it scales well because it never obsoletes. So you're able to pre-build calves even when you have landship tech, which is nice. The problem is, as a unit itself in classical, it's too expensive, and you're not going to build them. Cardione, this would be a 10, but it comes too late. Ignore Zoc on a 10 move unit is a lot different than on a 5. It also is incredibly tanky. It's super strong. So good. We're getting into like we're getting into really, really OP territory right here. Like once you hit 8, like this thing, like all these units are insane. Denmark Longship. This is what makes Denmark Denmark. Helps with your sim, with settling cities fast. It helps with exploring with scouts. It enables berserker attacks. It's just crazy. This would be a 10 if there wasn't a huge buff to embarkation in the last patch, or the last couple patches. Berber Cav. This is the best cavalry. The second best cavalry, in my opinion. If desert was more common, it would be the best cav. 50% on desert tiles is like laughable. Like that's just like what? But the thing is, calves doesn't happen much. So, I mean, desert isn't super common, and it's usually in your own land. So for a defensive unit, this is insane. And in fact, it trades positively with land ships in your own land because of Morocco bonus and everything. But when you get out of your own land, it's not nearly as good. Janissaries, these are crazy. They pair super well with the Spies, which we'll get to in a second. Really good attacking unit. Easily the best musket. Defines the Civ, Ottomans, you know. Yeah. Nothing else to say there. Wing Hustlers, these are crazy, but they're not as insane as people would think. Like, if your opponent sees it coming, the problem is it comes really early, right? But if your opponent sees it coming and they set up a wall of forted pikes, you're not pushing through. You need to wait till arty. So for that reason, it's not as crazy as, you know, one would hope. That being said, if your opponent isn't ready, these are the definition of a landship in Renaissance. So ballistas, this is what makes Rome Rome. Legion and ballistas are just an absolutely menace, and I think ballistas are kind of what empowers it the most. Buffalo Hunters, you know, again, there's so much plains in the map, so Buffalo Hunters are really good. Additionally, Buffalo Hunter attacks are usually just Buffalo Hunters and a couple spears or a couple horsemen, which means you're able to use these for sim purposes afterwards, and it's actually relevant, right? You want to rip up those camps and you want to put on teepees. You don't have enough workers for that. Well, Buffalo Hunters actually can fill that slot. So for that reason, Buffalo Hunters are this high. They're also an iconic unit. They're very, very strong, right? You're going to be on plains almost all the time. Marathi Riders, this is probably the best civ this is the best unit other than the Scotland one. This is the best unit for defending arty. Also, it allows you to do bomber attacks without going commerce. So for that reason, incredibly strong, super flexible. Yeah. The Tonga unit, incredibly good. It actually narrows down the options when you're finding ruins. You can't get upgrade ruins with it, so it helps a lot in the early game. Really helps your city-state stealing. You can archer city-states with it because you don't need archery. Very, very strong. Shona Warrior, there's a lot of strategies where you just build warriors instead of scouts, and it's best on this civ. So you can get a lot of free tributes a lot easier. They have one higher combat strength, which is meaningful when tributing CS. Additionally, they serve some sim purposes afterwards, clearing up your worker to go and improve luxury. So it helps speed up your game after the fact. Really good honor unit. Just good all around. Babylon, the Bowman. This might surprise some people, but this is the unit that enables Babylon to go honor every single game and archer city states every single game. You can kill walled CS, you can kill hill CS, you can kill flatland. Like, it doesn't matter. You'll always kill the CS. And for that reason, consistency is the most important thing when you're doing archering, and this enables consistency. Horse archers, iconic unit. There's not much to say. The reason there are 9 is because they're actually, you can actually defend them. If you couldn't defend them, they'd be a 10. Ballista elephants. This is like a tank. This is like a crossbow tank. 3 move is just unfair, and move and like you can. It lets you move, shoot. It lets you move, set up, shoot anywhere. It's so strong. Does a ton of damage to cities. Ton of damage to units. Just really, really oppressive. Qianlong cavalry, best cav in the game. So it's a 9. It's that simple. This unit is disgusting. Fortify. Yeah, I want you to fortify a musket into me. Like, actually. It's so stupid. Rocket Corps. Ridiculously oppressive unit. You wouldn't think... I mean, this is essentially Persia, but better because you don't have to be in GA. So... yeah, and your Mysore, so you're always going to have a fast timing because you're probably playing tall. Defender, best coastal unit in the game. For some reason, this unit is higher combat strength than an already super inflated combat strength unit, like an Ironclad. Like 50 versus 45 doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a lot. And not only that, they don't require coal, which is the biggest limiting factor when ironcladding. So this is the only civ in the game that can consistently hit the most oppressive naval unit for when you get it. The ironclads, defenders, 2-shot frigates, 2-shot privateers. There is nothing that can stop this attack. Supplies, this is like bread and butter for Ottomans. Move, pillage, move, pillage, move, pillage, move, pillage, move, pillage, move, pillage, all in one turn because pillage costs or whatever. This thing is a menace. It does a ton of damage. You get it early. You get it at, like, this is why this unit's crazy, because you get it at, you don't need metallurgy, so you just go straight. You go leaning, then you go, or you go gunpowder, then you go leaning, then you go chem, and then you just kill someone at art. You kill the next player at arty. Insane unit. So strong, pairs incredibly well with Ottomans, pairs incredibly well with Janissaries. I'd say this is the stronger of the 2 units. That's why it's a 9, and Janissaries are an 8. Philippines unit, this used to be an 11. This unit used to be an 11, but now it's a 9 because of the nerf. Still incredibly stupid. It's so stupid. Now, we talk a lot about this in the raw footage, so if you're interested, go watch that. But now's break the game. They allow you to build military units and translate it into sim, because you can profitably buy nows and build nows, and it translates into GPT. So building a now, let's say you can 2-turn a now, right? Well, a now on average gives you around 300 gold. So 2-turning a now is 150 gold per turn. It's just it's just delayed when you get there. So it's 8 turns delayed, 150 gold per turn. That's ridiculous, right? And you can build it in every city. You could build nows for 40 straight turns. 40 straight turns in all of your cities, and you'd still 100% be relevant because you're going to have so much money. And then you just go kill someone. Crazy. War Elephant, best chariot in the game. Probably one of the most oppressive units you can ever use. The problem is it's on India, but that's because it doesn't matter if it's on India. The point is like the unit and how it interacts with the civ. You can play tall India, go War Elephants, and just blow the fuck out of someone up. And there's nothing you can do to stop this unit. This unit is literally impossible to stop. You can be severely outhammered, severely outsimmed, and still kill someone. It's ridiculous. Hitaroi, this isn't even a unit. This is a general. This is just unfair. This is the definition of what is wrong with Macedonia. Like, this is why people ban the Civ. This feels like the most oppressive game unit in the game, except for a couple, maybe 1 or 2. This feels like the most oppressive unit in the game. Mostly because people don't use war elephants enough, but it's just crazy. The only downside is that it scales poorly into late game because your generals are now units, so they can get bombed. So for that reason, it's kind of bad, but it's just, I don't even know. It's just crazy. Shoshone, the Pathfinder. The utility on this thing is insane. You know, getting compos this early is just so stupid. Like, you can kill someone so easily with Shoshone. If you have a close cap, you get 2 compos, you just kill them. Just kill him. There's nothing you can do. Even that, like, you just play honor, go kill, guaranteed kill CS. Even if they have walls, who gives a fuck? Guaranteed pop runes, guaranteed gold runes. If you find a late culture rune, you're guaranteed that. It's bizarre. This is why you play Shoshone. This unit is why you play Shoshone. And then finally, the best unit in the game is the Impy. Probably surprising no one. We have it as utility, but realistically, it's just attacking. But it can do everything. Like, you build this unit even when you're calving people. Like, even if you're using arties, you still use this unit. Like, this unit is so stupid. Like, I don't understand how this is in the game. With the Impy, with Zulu, you get so many promotions, you get so much stuff. Like, this is why Zulu is banned, is because of this unit. Does it need a nerf? 100%. It's an 11 out of 10. It's too good. But it's so much fun. It's a land ship in medieval. Like, that's what I call it. It's literally a land ship. Like, anything in front of it dies. And it's just a fact. So here's the graph to show our rankings, but I hope this was informative. If you have any questions about any of the units, feel free to leave a comment below. And if you're really interested in learning more about how we came to these decisions, there will be a link to a 4-hour-long video in the description. That's all of the raw footage. Some of it's cut out because I'm really bad at recording stuff. And I accidentally turn off the recorder. But we have pretty much all of it there. Go listen to that if you really care. But yeah, hopefully this was helpful. There's like 100-something units. This took a long time to prepare and to discuss with everyone. So yeah, let me know if this was helpful. Feel free to leave a comment, leave a like if you like this type of thing. Probably be doing stuff like this with civs and like civs is like a civ tier list and all different types of stuff. So yeah, all right, thanks everyone for watching. Stay tuned for the next one.